The Jonathan Kuminga situation with the Golden State Warriors is turning into one of the most drawn-out sagas of the offseason, and honestly, there's no clear ending in sight. The big question right now is not just whether the Warriors should trade him, is how much they'd have to give up to make it happen, and whether doing so would even make sense at this point. For a team that's historically been so deliberate with its roster moves, things are getting tense. On paper, it sounds simple. Kuminga's a young, athletic forward with upside, and there are teams interested. The Phoenix Suns and Sacramento Kings are the two most prominent suitors right now. But here's where the complications start to pile up. Kuminga is still a restricted free agent, and that immediately limits his freedom. The Warriors can match any offer, and they hold most of the cards when it comes to controlling the outcome. He reportedly turned down a 2-year, $45 million extension offer from the Warriors, which averaged out to $22.5 million per year, with the second year being a team option. That's a pretty strong sign that Kuminga believes he's worth more, or at the very least wants a bigger role elsewhere. And let's be honest, you can't really blame him. His minutes have been all over the place. One game he's starting, the next he's glued to the bench. Even last season, when the Warriors were shorthanded, Kuminga couldn't find consistent rhythm. Injuries didn't help, of course. He missed a big chunk of January and February. But when he was available, the coaching staff just didn't seem fully convinced, and part of that comes down to fit. Steve Kerr has made it pretty clear that the trio of Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Jonathan Kuminga doesn't work well on the floor together, at least not yet. The spacing gets ugly. The ball movement stalls. And while Kuminga has had flashes, finishing the season strong with a 25-point performance and some efficient shooting splits, the coaching staff still seems to trust veterans more in crunch time. Now, when it comes to potential trades, here's where things really get interesting. The Warriors are not entertaining sign and trade offers unless the return is significant. We're talking a proven core player plus an unprotected first-round pick. And not just any first-round pick. They want one that could actually turn into something, not one of those late 20s picks that ends up being a borderline G League player. The Sacramento Kings have made a few proposals, but none of them have hit the mark. First, it was Devin Carter, Dario Saric, who, by the way, already had a stint with the Warriors and 2 second-round picks. That offer didn't move the needle. Then they came back with Malik Monk and a protected first-rounder from either 2030 or 2031. The problem? The protection essentially renders it meaningless if the Kings stay competitive. From the Warriors' perspective, it's not just about what they're getting back. It's also about what they'd have to give up to make the money work. Due to the NBA's salary cap rules, especially under the new collective bargaining agreement, any sign and trade deal for a restricted free agent like Kuminga is complicated. Only 50% of his new salary would count as outgoing salary from the Warriors side, which means they'd need to add more players just to match the incoming contract. Let's use an example. If the Kings offered Kuminga 3 years, $63 million, that's $21 million per year. Only about $10.5 million of that would count toward the Warriors' outgoing salary in a sign and trade. But Monk is making $18 million, so the Warriors would need to come up with an additional $7.5 million in matching salary. That's where names like Moses Moody or Buddy Hield start to come up. Players with salaries in the $9 to $12 million range. But trading either of them comes with its own set of problems. The Warriors are already thin. They've been shockingly inactive in free agency, and every piece on that roster matters. Shipping out depth just to offload Kuminga could leave them exposed. They've already ruled out trading any of the core trio, Curry, Green, or Butler. So unless they're willing to give up players like Trace Jackson-Davis, Brandon Podziemski, or Gui Santos, which would completely gut their bench, the only viable contracts left are Moody and Hield, and all of this is happening against the backdrop of a brutal salary cap situation. Right now, the Warriors' top 3 players are eating up a combined $139 million in salary. That's more than the top trios on basically any other team in the league. Brooklyn, for instance, sits at $79 million. Utah, $74. Even Milwaukee's top-heavy squad comes in at $101 million. This lack of flexibility is killing Golden State's ability to build depth, and it's also crippling them when it comes to trades. Under the new CBA's apron rules, if you're over certain salary thresholds, you lose access to mid-level exceptions. You can't take back more salary in trades, and you're restricted in how you can sign free agents. The Warriors are a staggering $93 million over the cap. That's not just bad, that's historically bad. Looking ahead, some teams could theoretically make a run at Kuminga next year if he rides out this season on the qualifying offer. Teams like Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Utah, Charlotte, and Philadelphia are projected to have cap space. But even then, it's not like there's a long list of teams with massive cap flexibility just waiting to throw money at him. Most teams will still be operating with caution, especially when it comes to long-term deals for players who haven't proven themselves as consistent starters. That's why Kuminga is in such a tricky spot. If he accepts the qualifying offer, worth $7.9 million, he becomes an unrestricted free agent next summer. That gives him full control over his next move, but it's a gamble. He'd be betting on himself to stay healthy, stay productive, and hope that a bigger role opens up somewhere else. And let's not forget he wants to be a starter. The role was there early last season, especially when Andrew Wiggins was out. But then came the ankle injury, followed by the arrival of Jimmy Butler, and that changed everything. Kuminga lost his spot in the rotation, and by the time he was healthy, Kerr had settled on his preferred lineup. This upcoming season might be different. Kerr has acknowledged that the team needs to give the Butler-Green-Kuminga trio more time to develop chemistry and improve spacing. There's still belief in the locker room that with more reps, that lineup could work. But again, that all hinges on Kuminga buying into the role, and that's something he hasn't seemed too thrilled about. On social media, he's made his feelings known. A recent Instagram post said it all. "I'll bet on myself all day." It's clear that he wants more minutes, more touches, more responsibility, and that's exactly what the Kings are offering. In Sacramento, he'd likely be a starter next to Keegan Murray and Domantas Sabonis. The Kings reportedly offered him a deal north of $90 million, significantly more than the Warriors' 2-year offer. But here's the catch. It's Sacramento, a division rival, a team that the Warriors have battled with in heated playoff series. From Golden State's perspective, sending Kuminga there and watching him thrive would be a nightmare scenario. Imagine watching him develop into a star just a couple of hours away, torching your team multiple times a year. That's part of what's stalling this entire process. If the offer was coming from, say, the Magic, the Pacers, or even the Raptors, basically anyone not in Northern California, the deal might already be done. But Sacramento, and that's a tough pill to swallow. So where does that leave us? Kuminga wants out, or at the very least wants a bigger role. The Warriors want to keep him, but only on their terms. Other teams want to trade for him, but Golden State's asking prices sky high. The salary cap is a mess. The trade mechanics are complicated, and we're running out of time before training camp. This might end up dragging into the regular season, or Kuminga might bite the bullet and play. One more year under the qualifying offer, then test the waters next summer. Either way, the tension is real, and for a team that's trying to squeeze one more championship run out of its aging core, every move, or non-move, matters more than ever. If Kuminga decides to play out the year under the qualifying offer, it sets the stage for a critical and potentially chaotic season, not just for him, but for the Warriors as a whole. On the one hand, it gives Golden State one more year to figure out whether he can truly develop into a consistent contributor. On the other hand, it places the franchise in an uncomfortable limbo. With a player who clearly has one foot out the door and is betting everything on his future value. The Warriors are not new to internal tension, but this situation feels different. This isn't about managing veteran egos or rotating bench players. This is a former top 7 pick, now 22 years old, who believes he's ready for a breakout and who has shown enough flashes to convince other teams that he might be right. But inside the organization, there's a divide between belief in his talent and doubt in his fit. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. The Golden State Warriors may be making a significant move in reshaping their wing rotation, as rumors swirl around a potential acquisition of David Roddy from the Houston Rockets. Sources close to the matter suggest that discussions between The two franchises have intensified over the past few days, hinting at the possibility that the Warriors are eyeing Roddy as a key piece to bolster their small forward depth. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders indicate that the Warriors front office has been exploring various trade scenarios, with Roddy's versatile skill set becoming increasingly attractive. Observers note that Roddy's ability to stretch the floor, defend multiple positions, and contribute offensively off the bench could make him an ideal fit for the Warriors system, especially in matchups where agility and perimeter shooting are critical. Analysts are speculating that if the deal materializes, it could shift the dynamic of Golden State's rotation, potentially providing more flexibility for Steve Kerr to experiment with lineups that combine experience with youth, creating a balance between high-level shooting, defensive intensity, and the unpredictability that Roddy is known for in transition and perimeter play. Beyond the immediate implications for rotation management, the potential arrival of David Roddy in Golden State raises questions about the team's long-term strategy and vision. Observers are pointing out that the Warriors, coming off a season where their depth at the forward positions was tested repeatedly, could view Roddy as a strategic gamble that addresses lingering concerns about wing versatility. Rumors suggest that the Rockets may be receptive to offers involving mid-tier draft picks or young players with potential upside, creating a situation in which both franchises could benefit if a trade comes to fruition. Analysts speculate that Roddy's addition might not only enhance Golden State's bench scoring, but also offer Kerr more options in high-pressure playoff scenarios, where defensive flexibility and spacing are often decisive. Fans are buzzing over the possibility that this move could finally allow the Warriors to fill lineups with greater defensive balance without sacrificing three-point shooting, giving them a competitive edge in a league where every positional advantage can tilt the balance of a tightly contested playoff series. Inside the locker room, murmurs of a possible Roddy acquisition have reportedly sparked curiosity and cautious optimism among Warriors players. Sources familiar with the team's internal discussions hint that veterans are intrigued by the potential fit, noting that a player with Roddy's combination of size, athleticism, and shooting range could seamlessly integrate with the team's fast-paced offensive schemes. Speculation also revolves around how his arrival might influence the distribution of minutes among existing forwards, as well as how rookies and younger role players might adapt to a reshuffled hierarchy. Observers are noting that Roddy's reputation as a versatile, high-energy contributor could be exactly what the Warriors need to maintain balance during grueling back-to-back games and playoff stretches. If the trade occurs, the narrative in Golden State's locker room could shift, introducing a new dynamic that blends established stars with a promising wing capable of creating matchup headaches for opponents. Even casual fans are joining the discussion online, debating which rotations might see the biggest impact and whether Roddy's style of play can accelerate the Warriors' pursuit of another championship run. On the analytical side, speculation around a Roddy trade to the Warriors is prompting basketball analysts and commentators to explore statistical implications and on-court impact scenarios. Experts are projecting that adding Roddy could improve Golden State's perimeter defense efficiency while increasing three-point attempts per game, particularly in second-unit lineups. Rumors suggest that coaches are considering how his skill set could open lanes for primary ball handlers and increase scoring opportunities in transition, with analytics indicating potential upticks in both effective field goal percentage and points per possession. Furthermore, observers note that Roddy's defensive versatility could allow Kerr to experiment with different small ball combinations, potentially reducing the team's defensive vulnerabilities against more athletic or larger forwards. Nowadays, speculation also extends to advanced metrics, with projections highlighting potential improvements in plus-minus ratings and net rating while he is on the court. While the trade remains speculative, it is clear that the mere possibility of Roddy joining Golden State has sparked a wave of analysis, encouraging fans, commentators, and insiders to discuss how even minor lineup adjustments might ripple through the Warriors' championship-caliber performance and influence playoff outcomes. Finally, the broader NBA landscape is fueling speculation that a RODDY trade to the Warriors could have ripple effects across multiple franchises. Analysts suggest that if the deal were to occur, it might set off a chain reaction of roster adjustments as teams react to the Warriors' strengthened wing rotation. Rumors indicate that Houston could leverage the situation to acquire future draft assets or target players who fit specific needs, creating a complex web of potential transactions that could reshape competitive balances. Fans are increasingly weighing in on social media, speculating how Roddy's presence might influence Golden State's playoff matchups, particularly against defensively stout or fast-paced teams. Additionally, insiders are suggesting that the Warriors management might view this move not just as a short-term rotation enhancement, but as a strategic investment in maintaining roster flexibility for future seasons. As the trade chatter intensifies, the NBA community continues to speculate on whether the Warriors' pursuit of Roddy signals a subtle shift in philosophy, emphasizing depth, adaptability, and positional versatility as keys to sustaining long-term championship contention, leaving fans, analysts, and rival teams eagerly awaiting confirmation or further developments in this unfolding saga. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.